Hey, what's up, folks? It's Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, channel that always has your back and tells it like it is. Well, today's video is going to be a real simple one. I'm going to tell you why I'm so bullish on Jasmy. So if it hasn't been obvious, I wanted to kind of sum up everything into one video that tries to capture everything I know up until this point. And lucky for you, this actually ties directly into an article that I just wrote on my website. So my website's at KIRfinance.com. You can go there through the QR code that I have, the little banner at the bottom. And from that, you should be able to get right to it and read this or go back to it if you have any questions. I've really tried to sum up quotes, historical context, just a whole ton of research into this thing, into why I feel the way I feel about it. We recently had our call just the other day, our Jasmy Spaces call. And, you know, the underlying theme and kind of all of it was, is there any value here, right? Is there any value in this project? So that's what I want to show you today. Is there any value? So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you click the bell, you'll be made aware whenever I post time-sensitive content just like this. And now, let's get it going. Hey, what's up, everybody? So I wanted to share my thoughts on why I'm so bullish with Jasmy for quite a while now. And over the last couple of days, I thought, you know, I really need to sum this up in a new blog post. So the post I'm showing you right now is live on my website right now at KIRfinance.com. You can find it there. You can refer back to it if you'd like. I've got a ton of info here. But I thought, you know, it might be helpful to actually run through this post with you and just kind of give you my thoughts on it. So that's what we're going to do in today's video and really try to highlight on exactly why I'm so bullish on this project, Jasmy, right? So moving on down here, I kind of kick off the article by talking about how I've come to the realization lately that I'm definitely a Jasmy maxi, a maximalist. And it's something that I did not start out as. It's something that is sort of I've evolved into, I would say, over the last year as time has gone on. You know, if you follow my channel, you can go back in the archives, so to speak, and you can see that I used to do videos on pretty much just about any coin out there. If somebody asked me to do a video on it, I'd do a video on it, right? So I've done a lot of videos on a lot of different coins. But the thing with Jasmy is I kept getting feedback from the community saying, hey, do another video, do another video, do another video. And I said, all right, fine. So I started doing a weekly update. I don't even know how many of those I've done now, a ton of them. Then I got asked to join a Twitter Spaces call. And so I've been on that call for a significant amount of time. And so basically, as time's gone on, I've gotten more and more involved with the community of Jasmy. And with all of the research that our research group has done, I've just gotten more and more bullish on it as time has gone on. And so that's kind of what I want to highlight in this video. All right. So first of all, what am I bullish on? Well, I am absolutely bullish on the founders and some of the specific team members. Now, I did kind of want to highlight this because I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way. But I put a note up here and I said, note, I've specifically left Hara off of this list. And no, it's not because I'm bashing Hara or anything like that. I left him off the list because the resumes of the following people are just on a whole nother level, like stratospheric level. Okay. So to kick this off, we're looking at Kunitake Ando. So Ando is the former Sony president, COO from 2000 to 2005. This was around the time that, you know, Bill Gates was leading Microsoft. Steve Jobs was leading Apple, etc. He knows all of them. Essentially 49 years with Sony, 1969 to 2018. That is insane. I can't even imagine working somewhere for nearly 50 years, but that's exactly what he did. Now, while he was there, launched Vio PC and Xperia, built Sony's entire financial sector, one bank and 3 insurance companies. He's currently the chairman of the University of Nagano, and I've got the website links where you can go to it and you can see his picture. That's where he is, okay? He's the director of the Japan Innovation Network that aims to bring innovation essentially back to Japan. There's a ton of connected people in that one. Honorable chairman of BJIT Group software company. This is the one that Kazumasa Sato is also involved in, and they're in numerous countries around the world. Okay, Japan Center for International Exchange director, advisor to the government of Taiwan. This is really interesting. Co-founded Jasmy April 5th, 2016. And why that's interesting is that April 5th, 1975 is the rumored birthday of Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin founder. So Jasmy was founded on Satoshi's 41st birthday. And take from that what you will, but kind of under the surface, a few of us are wondering if Sony had anything to do with Bitcoin. But who knows? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But there's some really coincidental dates that are out there. Okay. Moving forward. So Ando's personal view is that Japan has no tier one tech companies on par with GAFA. So Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon. Ando is also 80 years old. And why it's relevant, and I say it right here, is why would someone of Ando's caliber and Ando's age start or be involved with a startup like Jasmy? And the answer is pretty simple. It's because it's about legacy. It's not about money. So if anybody tells you this is a rug pull, that's completely bogus. They've never actually done their homework. So moving on down. Now it says here, so I wrote, Ando also knows everyone in the tech world, as I mentioned earlier. So this is a quote from him. This is pretty cool. So back in our time, the top executives always talked directly to each other. Sony executives had that in their culture. For example, when we decided to launch a new PC product, which later became Vio, we called and visited Bill Gates, Andy Grove, and Apple's headquarters in Cupertino and talked. So pretty awesome there, right? Ando's background is absolutely amazing. If you look him up, I don't know if there's like an autobiography or something out there on him. It would be really neat to read if there is one. Very, very impressive background, right? Now, next, we have Kazumasa Sato. So right here, former head of marketing for Sony as the CEO of Sony Style. Sony Style was the inspiration for the Apple Store. Currently chairman and director of BJIT Group and co-founder of Jasmy. Now, one thing that I've been thinking about lately with him is that, one area where the community tends to complain, at least on the global investor side, is in the marketing, right? And I've highlighted before on the channel that they actually do a very good job, I think, marketing to the Japanese. They do a great job there. But worldwide, there's still more to be desired. I think we could improve the communication. They probably need somebody in a marketing manager type of role, etc. But it's just sort of ironic. I've been thinking about this, that, we've got is basically the leader of our company, Sato, the former head of marketing for Sony. So you'd think when it comes to marketing, that should be something that we should easily get right. So, I always kind of go back to things like CoinMarketCap. We've been talking about CoinMarketCap lately. They haven't had the correct circulating supply numbers for, I don't know how long. It's been a really long time. They're not right. Okay, we all know they're not right. But what's really interesting is that Jasmy over the last couple of weeks has been doing more of a more of a global push towards marketing. And they even updated their entire bio description on CoinMarketCap. They updated all of it, all right? At the same time, Harada did a AMA with Binance US, who is owned, or excuse me, Binance, who owns CoinMarketCap. Okay, so you can kind of see how some of these things sort of tie together. And so in that Binance US AMA, he cites at the bottom the Jasmy Global website is in there. And on the Jasmy Global website, it shows the self-reported supply of 30.8 billion. Okay, so you got to kind of ask yourself, why would they update the description of the company on CoinMarketCap, but not the circulating supply? Kind of interesting. It seems purposeful on the outside, at least, right? Anyway, moving forward. So we have Masanobu Yoshida. He's extremely impressive also. So Sony Cleve, PDA, Sony Ericsson, he was in charge of, directed SoftBank Mobile to bring the iPhone to Japan. Co-founder of Jasmy. He actually retired in December of 2021. Now, that doesn't mean that he's not still involved in the project in some form or fashion. if need be. But for the day to day, he is not involved. However, he was basically involved in it for 5 years. He's the MY in Jasmy, Masanobu Yoshida. Okay, Dreamforce CEO, visiting professor, Tokushima University, and advisor to the Altered State Machine with a project that basically comes from the brothers behind Centrality. Okay, so really, really interesting there. Regarding him being a visiting professor, he actually posts pretty regularly on LinkedIn, and he'll tell you, about what he's doing over there. And his latest thing is growing seed ideas. So it's getting these brand new ideas and seeing what they can make of them. So pretty cool. I really like his background a lot. Moving on down, Tadashi Morita. So co-inventor of the Felicia chip technology used for uh, security without incident for 30 years. He's a co-inventor of that. Co-inventor, okay? Worked at basically the Sony Computer Science Laboratory as a strategist working on DC AC microgrid technology. What that means, I had to look that one up. It basically just means he's been working on the technology to make a self-sustaining building. So it's not connected to the electrical grid. It works on its own. Think of like an office building that they build in the middle of the Amazon rainforest. Well, how does it work without running, power lines to it, telephone lines, all these different things to get it up and running? You think of like your sewer, all that stuff. Well, he's focused on the electrical side of it. So basically being self-sufficient. And the easiest way I can think about this is I think of a company like Tesla. And Tesla a while back announced that they had solar roofing tiles. And so essentially, if you have all these solar roofing tiles on your roof, you could basically disconnect your house from the grid, and you would be entirely self-sufficient when it comes to power. That's what Tadashi Morita has been working on with the Sony Computer Science Lab. So that's really interesting. He's also a project researcher at Kanagawa University. And then lastly, I wanted to highlight Takashi Hagiwara. So he's one that we recently have looked into. Former president of Sony Digital Network Applications, deputy head of VIO, CEO of Vision Arts. So he's sort of a legend in his own right? Now, in terms of patented tech, so this is some of the other stuff that's got me really bullish on Jasmy. Like, this is the stuff that basically sets it apart, okay? So we have the Secure Knowledge Communicator that accomplishes 3 goals. Number 1, KYC. Number 2, decentralization of data. And number 3, the ability to send and receive data. And then we have Smart Guardian, which adds security to the transmission and storage of data. So essentially, with those two combined, this is how the personal data locker comes to life. And as I noted here, what I wrote, you then take the tech one step further. You apply Edge AI, which is able to provide previously unknown insights. You can see how the concept of smart marketing is born. And by smart marketing, I talk about it later in the article, but that's essentially their concept of platinum data, right? That's what we're talking about. It's highly valued data, platinum data. So I did note here that it's also my view that I don't think there's any direct competitor to Jasmy. I have researched them and I did a video on them. So I've got a link here to my YouTube video that I did on competitors. Feel free to watch that from the website if you haven't seen it already, where I compare Jasmy to numerous other competitors. There are a few that have similar features and services, essentially, but nobody who's exactly alike. There is no one-to-one competitor, in my view. Now, they also have physical and virtual products. So we've got Secure PCs. So the PC management program co-developed with Transcosmos. This is essentially to monitor a teleworker who's working from the house and handling phone calls, that kind of thing. We've got VIO, so Secure PCs developed in partnership with Jasmy, specifically for the intent of institutions such as like a financial institution. So you think of like the banking world, for example. Physical products, we also have chips, tablets, smartwatch that have been co-developed with Borks. So, we're going to talk about the partners here in a second. But in terms of virtual products, so we've got the fan token platform, right? So this could be for any sporting team essentially. And what it does is it provides a dynamic NFT that the more engagement you do, the more points you get, the more points you have, it levels itself up, then it unlocks exclusive features for you, essentially. All right. We've got the entry exit system co developed with WITS. So this is entry exit of a sporting event. You could take that numerous different directions. You think of entry exit into a hospital, a military base, a country, a concert. There's so many different ways that could go. Just an office building, you think of the people who have to badge into the office building, right? So many ways that one could go. The entry exit system, really like that. And then essentially just the PDL itself. In the example I gave, I talked about Nippon Travel Agency or the catering company using them. All right. So in terms of partners and affiliates, so let me just read what I wrote here. So I've said privately within our research group that if any of us have tried to create Jasmy, we would have failed. And I've often wondered, how exactly does a startup have billion-dollar companies as partners? And this is kind of going back to the Jasmy initiative, right? And to that effect, we had a quote from Fan Jia here. This was from a Chinese AMA where he said, "We have a very high quality and large scale business partners in Japan, which ensures that Jasmy's technology can be fully commercialized in the early stage." I thought that was really bullish statement. Now, for some of the partners, and let me just preface this that this is not all of the partners. These are just some of the more relevant ones, okay? So Vio, obviously, highly relevant. PC manufacturer partnered with Jasmy to create secure computers. We've got Transcosmos, Japan's largest call center. And by largest call center, they're looking to use secure PC with 40,000 teleworkers. Transcosmos total has over 70,000 workers, 200 business centers worldwide, and over 3 billion in annual revenue. So this is a Goliath of a company that we're partnered with, right? We've also got Line. So Line, essentially Japan's largest messenger app, solution developed with Transcosmos to use the PDL. We've got Borks, IoT device manufacturer, partnered with Jasmy to create chips, tablets, smartwatches. I mentioned them earlier. Borks, also, as I mentioned in one of my last major videos, Nancy Pelosi here in the U.S., her son apparently is a big investor in Borks. So one of our guys found an article on that. So that's kind of interesting. Maybe a political tie-in there through a backdoor, basically. Intel Japan, chip manufacturer. There have been a few AMAs that have referenced Intel Japan and their interest in Jasmy and the technology. So figured I'd highlight them here. WITS, as I mentioned, the entry-exit system, also the autonomous driving data pilot with Toyota. So Toyota tied in here for the Hokkaido Smart City. Centrality, as I mentioned earlier, they are absolutely critical. So Centrality partnered with Jasmy to offer blockchain solutions, their solution called Plug, to create the Jasmy Net blockchain and wallet. BitPoint Exchange, so this is a cryptocurrency exchange in Japan. They are owned by Remix Point, who is partnered with SBI Holdings that ties into SoftBank. They are another Goliath company in Japan. Nishimura Asahi Law Firm, so Japan's largest law firm specializing in fintech finance and patents. So they are the ones who are guiding Jasmy's regulatory compliance worldwide. One of the things I've highlighted recently is in that update on the CoinMarketCap page, it says they did not conduct an ICO. All right. Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corp. So this is one of the SMBC is how they're known, one of the largest banks in Japan, and their partnership dates all the way back to the Sony board when Ando was in charge from 01 to 05, where the head of SMBC was always on that board. So that's where that one comes from. Biomedica, this is a bit of a new one, but it was actually announced in an AMA a little over a year ago, just unnamed. Technology for regenerative medicine, cell culture by conducting research, testing on personal genetic data security management methods. Panasonic, so formerly partnered with Biomedica, currently partnered with the Hokkaido Ballpark. Panasonic's sort of one of these roundabout partnerships, and I want to say I think they mentioned Panasonic in the coin market cap also. So there's something going on under the surface with Panasonic there. JNA. So JNA is a software systems engineer specializing in AI, cloud, IoT. They got 1,200 employees. Notable partners, listen to this: Apple, Toyota, Panasonic, Sony, Siemens. Again, all the web continues, right? Nippon Travel Agency. So they're the oldest travel agency in Japan. They have annual sales of over $500 million USD. So they're a big time company. Applix, hardware software applications for IoT, 30 million USD in annual sales. So they're on the smaller side in comparison to some of these other Goliaths, right? And then Kuzit provides AI data analysis and machine learning. If you go to the Kuzit site, they actually have a app that it puts like funny pictures and stuff, funny little like cartoon type additions when you take a picture of yourself or whatever. And it said that they actually got that technology from Sony. So just kind of keeps on going here, right? And, I mentioned, so let me say this also. In addition to the various partners listed above, customer businesses are rumored to be 50 plus, with one of them being a catering company with over 50 chain stores across Japan. All right. Now let's talk about the KPIs. So this is per Hara. As the amount of data stored in the PDL increases over time, long-term investors can expect to see significant capital gains. Hara. So what the KPIs are: 107 million users, 16.7 price per data ratio, and 500 average revenue per user. So, as I noted here, we think through our team's research, we think the 107 million users is easily attainable in Asia alone. From there, the price data ratio will be possible as value of data increases. And regarding the $500 average revenue per user, that essentially is your platinum data. So as they can prove the value of it, it will drive the price up, right? And so I said here also, and I've said this a lot lately, why even publish these KPIs if you don't think you can meet or exceed them? So I think that is very, very relevant. Another very bullish feather in our cap, right? Here's probably one of the most bullish feathers. So let me go ahead and talk about the tokenomics and the float, because I know a lot of people are talking about this. So there will be a max supply of 50 million coins, no inflation, of that 50 billion. So 35 billion projected to be locked up by businesses, that's 70%. 2.4 billion projected to be locked up in team incentives to reach the KPIs, that's 4.8%. So essentially what I said here was 74.8% locked up. That would leave 12.6 billion essentially available for the retail investor, theoretically, right? Now, customer businesses will also pay for access to user data with Jasmy Coin. The cost of access, however, will be based on the yen. What this means is that the fluctuating price of Jasmy Coin will have no bearing on the price for customer businesses. So customer businesses would not be buying Jasmy Coin to invest in. They're buying it to get access to data. Okay. Now the case becomes more bullish with the introduction of DD Coin. So let me read you what I wrote here. So an ecosystem-only stablecoin based on the Japanese yen, which will be used to compensate users for their data. DD Coin will be able to be exchanged for JPY or Jasmy Coin and will not only provide a stable marker for the value of data, but users will also be incentivized to hold their DD Coin. I'm talking about the fan token here, to level up their dynamic NFT. So this idea further removes Jasmy Coin from circulating supply. So mull that one over. Think about that. Then the price per coin in 2026 is projected to be near 1787. These are based on the KPIs. Okay. If you then take the math one step further and reduce the circulating supply from 50 billion down to 12.6 or 15 billion, that would make the price of Jasmy equal roughly to $60 or $70. So that is sort of the pie in the sky end goal. And that, as I see it, would not be this next cycle. It would probably be the cycle after that. This is kind of like the 2030 goal, right? Now, government connection. This is extremely important. This is another, peacock feather that we got here, right? So Japan first. So it would have been significantly easier to start Jasmy in another country like Singapore, right? But they have not done that. And the reason why kind of goes back to Ando's views and looking at this project as a legacy project first and foremost. Then the founders of Jasmy and the law firm representing them are connected to political initiatives of the Jasmy government, with many of Jasmy's moves aligning with the policy initiatives and law changes. That's true also. If you look at it in context, the various moves they made as a company very closely follow what is happening in politics in Japan. Lastly, the National Data Strategy with the Goal of Society 5.0 emphasizes the value of data with a roadmap that mirrors the development of Jasmy. Okay. Now, footprint. So, where are they? Where do they want to go? Right. Per Hara, we're already in the market of China, Taiwan, Korea, and Japan. Okay. Regarding China, and I thought this was bullish as well. This is from Fangia. So I know that China's laws and regulations are very strict. However, we developed on the basis of Sony. Sony has a wide market and user base in China, so we're confident that we can develop Jasmy's business well. Okay. We've got Bangladesh, Vietnam. We've got proof of them being in Vietnam. What I got here? India, Thailand. They were looking at research. USA. Okay. Now I also wanted to note here, because I'm not forgetting the rest of the world out there. I'm also aware there's significant interest throughout Europe, Australia, South America, and elsewhere. And by Europe, definitely the UK. Right. Now, lastly, data democratization. So, data democratization is a big idea that to date has not been pursued by big tech, essentially. Okay. The reason why is that they made too much money from centralizing your data. Okay. So, data democratization is also an idea that may not have previously been possible without blockchain technology. I think that's true also. Again, you got to look at context. You can't just always play Monday morning quarterback and, why didn't they do it that way? Well, you got to look at it in context, right? Now, in fact, it's a lofty idea that I think without the connections, corporate experience of the Jasmy team, the idea may never be possible. Well, and here's how I sum it up. So there's a saying that goes something like, "The impossible is only impossible until someone does it." That's true. Think of somebody like Elon Musk, for example, with SpaceX. So with SpaceX, NASA has been building rockets for 50 years, basically 50 years plus, and they've never been able to, with the exception of the space shuttle, have one that comes back to Earth and lands and they reuse it. Okay. The rockets itself were not reusable. Let me rephrase that. They were reusable, but they did not come back in a way that made it cost effective, put it that way, right? So where SpaceX is different is they not only fly the rocket up there, but then they bring the rocket back down and land it exactly on the launch pad, right? Which is just crazy. Now, I would say, as a side note to that, if you want to see a funny video, there are some like parody videos out there on YouTube of the SpaceX rocket blowing up, which I think Elon himself posted, which are actually pretty funny for all their failed tests. But my point in all of this is that no one really thought that was possible until they did it, right? Same thing if you look at like the Hyperloop idea, something like that, right? So I wanted to sum it all up, though, and say essentially everything I've listed in this post is simply my own personal view based on, here we go, a year of research, 30 to 40 YouTube videos that take, tons of research and a full day of working on them. 25 plus Jasmy Spaces Twitter calls. And the work, this is the most important thing, of numerous collaborators from across the globe. Our research team, the community, everybody kind of plays a role in this. And that's how we move this whole thing forward. And so there's been just a ton of research into this thing, right? So this article is not intended to be a sales pitch, nor is it financial advice. Really, the whole point behind this article is to show you why I'm so bullish on this project. Okay. So let's sum all this up with some final thoughts here, bring it on home, and wrap this video up. All right, so for some final thoughts today, I hope this video sort of surmised, kind of came to a conclusion, kind of laid it all out there, exactly why I'm bullish on Jasmy. I'm not bullish for any reason other than what I laid out in the video, right? You know, there's a ton of information there. When you look at the various partners, kind of just the web, you know, think of it like the web that's under the surface, the undercurrent of this thing. How many connections there are. If you actually follow any of the research, any of the links, like on Ando, for example, and you look at all the different boards that he's been on, and then you start looking at all those other people that are on those boards, significant connections. Okay, so there's connections across the board on this thing. You know, what's really interesting, I think, with Jasmy overall is that we've talked about it a lot, that it's kind of more of like a hybrid. Like it's more of a corporate startup company that uses blockchain as opposed to a cryptocurrency that was founded after a hackathon. If you look at the website, it doesn't look anything like a website for a normal cryptocurrency project. It looks totally different. It's got this corporate thing to it, okay? Now, what else is interesting, and I mentioned this earlier, I find this kind of funny, that Kazumasa Sato was basically the head of marketing for Sony, right? And if you look at the Japanese website for Jasmy, it's actually a pretty good website. It's not bad. Originally, it was kind of crappy. It's gotten a lot better. It actually looks pretty good now. The Jasmy global website still kind of leaves a lot to be desired. I think it could be a lot better than it is. So could they do some more work there? Absolutely. But it's just kind of funny to me that, you know, the one area where it seems like we sort of fall a little bit short is on marketing. Everything else is extremely strong, and it's very ironic because we have the former head of marketing for Sony leading the way here, okay, along with Ando. So outside of all those things, you look at all the partners, they kind of range from all over the board. Some of them are a smaller partner, somebody like an Applix, right? $30 million USD annually. Then you look at somebody like a Transcosmos, $3 billion annually. One of the themes that I've seen from the various partners is that they're very interested in Jasmy's platinum data. That's kind of the big thing, the platinum data. And, you know, I've sort of referred to this as smart marketing versus dumb marketing. And I always kind of, you know, I can just think of the Super Bowl ads. They cost millions of dollars. You've got like a 15-second snippet. Sometimes it's a great ad, and sometimes it just completely flops. And ultimately, did that ad actually reach the intended audience? You know, Super Bowl watchers is a pretty broad audience. That's not specific at all. But that's where Jasmy changes this, is the ability to get specific, targeted marketing based upon AI from personal data that is given by the user. Your data is also protected. You know, that's probably, you know, something that I don't cover as much on this channel is the security side of it. You know, we between our own group, we send articles back and forth all the time. Oh, look at this big hack that just happened, and you know, this company just had all their user data stolen. Jasmy would have helped there, and that's kind of the underlying theme that, yep, Jasmy could have helped them, Jasmy could have helped them, Jasmy could have helped a lot of them. So ultimately, it comes down to execution. You know, this current market isn't really the focus of this video, but the current market's crap. So when the market turns around, will Jasmy turn around? Yes. One thing that's evident and probably worth taking note of is that the companies that were not managed well, crypto companies that is, have had some pretty bumpy, they've hit some potholes, put it that way. They've hit some potholes in the old car, this current market. The companies that have been managed well haven't missed a beat. You know, they've added people. You know, you look at like a Binance, they keep hiring. right? They keep adding people. You look at Polkadot, totally fine. Even Ethereum, they're great, totally fine, right? You look at Jasmy, there's no issue. There's no financial issue. There's no, I think that's one of the things that just drives some of us crazy with various FUD that comes out there is it's always got a finance angle. Oh, they're trying to, it's a rug pull. Okay, clearly you haven't done any research if it's a rug pull, okay? So overall, I just think it's a fantastic opportunity. Hopefully my article and this video have summed it up more than any other that I've ever seen. So if you have anybody who ever wants to find out about Jasmy, this is probably the video for them. This is the one to probably point them to first. And then if they want to watch the weekly updates after that, go right ahead. But I think this is a very valuable video because it kind of sums up the whole project in a nutshell, right? So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget that I am also on Twitter at KIR Finance, where you can find me tweeting and retweeting. Whenever I'm not making videos, I'm usually on there tweeting something, reposting a joke, tweeting a chart, you name it. I'm there. Then I've also got the QR code here. It'll take you to my website. I've got all kinds of things there, from the merch shop, links, you name it. All that stuff is in there. Patreon, all that stuff. The blog, right? That's all there. And so lastly, for a friendly reminder, this is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, channel that always says your back, tells it like it is, and I will see you on the next one. Later.